You are what you pay attention to. You are what you pay attention to. All right, that hurt. I hate awkward silences, but we just had to. You are what you pay attention to. That's a really big, true, loaded phrase. And if you're anything like my household, we've had a lot of time to be on like using technology in this quarantine. So we decided, me and Avery, to make a video on how to use technology prudently and make sure the technology doesn't control us, because that's a true, real thing. So my first question for you is technology inherently good or bad?
Neither.
Yes, correct. Avery, you want to share?
Yeah, so technology can be very good, but it can also, like all good things, be misused or abused or distorted in ways that make it unhealthy.
Yeah. So since we're under quarantine, we're not saying that you should throw your phone out the window or try to baptize your phone and drown it. Nothing like that. We are saying that you should be aware of how you're using your phone, when you're using your phone, what you're watching, what you're looking at. So we're going to give you 7 practical tips. It's kind of a lot. You don't have to do every single one, but listen to our 7 practical tips and maybe find 1 or 2 that you can implement in your life to help make sure that you're using technology with prudence.
So our first tip is that when we go to pick up our phone or to open up our laptop or some other device like a TV, we can ask ourselves, what else could I be doing right now? Is what I'm about to do on this device going to glorify God? So that's tip 1. Then tip 2 is that we can use the wallpapers on our phone and the profile pictures, cover photos, those types of things on our social media accounts to put something encouraging on it, or a really beautiful picture or something that glorifies God in some way. And I like to put a prayer on the front of my phone, and so that whenever I go to open it up, I challenge myself to read the prayer before I open my phone, so that I remind myself to not use my phone in ways that's going to pull me away from God.
Yeah, so not necessarily like an Our Father, but like a Jesus, I trust in you, or like be with me, Lord, or something short and sweet. So Avery mentioned the wallpapers. You might be like, great idea, girls. Where do you even find those things? Well, St. Margaret Youth Group has an Instagram page, and on the Instagram page you can put a story, and we saved one of our stories, and it's entitled Wallpaper. So if you click on that, you can click through like 100 different wallpapers, and you just screenshot it. Then once you screenshot it, you go to your pictures to put it as your wallpaper or your cover photo or whatever it is. So it sounds complicated, but there really are a lot of beautiful wallpapers that you can choose from. Even if it's a picture of your family, that could, be awesome as well. So
our third tip is screen time. So screen time is something that I know iPhones have. I'm not sure about Androids, but in the settings, you can basically go to the section that's called screen time, and it shows where you spend your time most on your phone. So it'll have down to the minute how much time you spend on the apps in the category of productivity or entertainment or things like that. And then you can set limits on apps. So you can say, I want all my apps in the entertainment category to limit myself to half an hour a day or whatever. And so that's a good time to kind of monitor what we're using our time for. And there's also something called downtime, and so you can schedule downtime from the time that you want to go to sleep to the time that you wake up, and so that we're not accidentally scrolling through Pinterest for good recipe ideas all night.
I would literally never do that.
Or hopping right on to online shopping right when you wake up or something.
Just
like
at me.
Oops. And then tip number 4 is that we can identify when exactly we're misusing our social media. So is it in the morning? Is it at night? Is it some other weird time during the day? And then we can kind of maybe just, figure out something else to put in its place, or maybe make that time smaller that we're on social media.
We know you guys would never start scrolling and then endlessly end up an hour or two later in this black hole of social media. We know you guys wouldn't, but we happen to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Or if you like watch Disney Plus or Netflix, then it's like the next show in 3, 2, and you're like, not even by the remote. Gotta do it.
I gotta watch it. It's already
so hard. And then, yeah, it's hard, especially Pinterest. They have such beautiful things, and I could be like, it was so beautiful though, and this is wedding stuff, But like Avery said, there's a time and place for everything. And maybe if you're like, I don't know when I go on social media the most, or even if that's a problem, you could always ask your spouse or your family, because they always have a way of knowing those things, and you can ask them to charitably make you aware of those times that you're doing that.
Yes. So tip number 5 is that when we do use social media, we can ask ourselves, are we using it to spread the gospel? And so what are we posting? What are we sharing or tweeting like some birds or something?
She doesn't get out much.
Is it to glorify God? Is it to spread the gospel? Is it to do what we're called to do? Or is it to just dig us a deeper hole into sin or something like that?
Yeah.
And then tip 6 is that we can take inventory of our social media accounts. And so to ensure that we are spreading the gospel to others and to ourselves from others, we can see who we're following and what we're looking at when we are scrolling. And so we can unfollow accounts, that aren't very healthy to look at or fruitful to read.
Yeah. The purpose of this video is really just to challenge you to live in the present moment, which sounds way easier than it actually is, but it's super hard to live in the present moment whenever you're living through your phone. So we all, in talking about what Avery had said, this is a good time to ask yourself like why you're on social media. I think right now we're really all on because as humans we're like communal for our sanity, and this is really the only way we can be communal, is keeping track through keeping up with people through technology, which is a great gift. But sometimes I think we could fall into the trap of posting things for our own glory instead of God's glory. And so that's the things that we are challenging you to start thinking about what you're posting.
And then our 7th and final tip is to fast from social media or fast from the thing that glues us to our phone. And fasting can be super healthy, and a really good way to set that goal of fasting for ourselves and to reach it is to have an accountability partner. And so I know whenever I set a goal for myself, I'm always like, hey, Ansley, make sure that I do this and this, or I don't do that, because if it's up to me, I'm going to be like, it's fine. But if I have Ansley to kind of keep me in check, then I know I can reach my goals.
Yeah, if you're in college like both of us, or in high school and you're doing schoolwork at home, the struggle is so real. I'll be on my phone and then I'm like, Avery, I have to do this. So then she takes my phone and runs, and I'm like, what are you doing? But then I'm like, this kind of solves my problem for a second. So anyway, fasting, like Avery said, it could also grow our appreciation of it. So if you only have 10 minutes a day to check your social media accounts, it'll be much a different experience than if you just let yourself check them anytime. So, yeah. Okay. We also have some suggestions for you. So if you took my sister's advice to start unfollowing people who or cut off accounts that just aren't healthy for you for a various amount of reasons. They don't lead you closer to God, but they lead you towards sin. You might be like, I only follow a few people now. But there are really wholesome, good Catholic, Christian, etc. social media accounts that you can follow that post really beautiful things that are really uplifting. So we're going to somehow get those to you guys. For Instagram, we have some YouTube channels that we recommend. Twitter. You can find good accounts on any of these platforms. You just got to look. All right, so to leave you guys with some reflection questions, we have 2. The first is, are you in control of your technology, or is your technology in control of you? This is a question I think you should take to prayer, that you should take some time to think about. You can journal about it if you like to journal. So that's the first question. The second is being active on social media, does that give you joy? And if so, why? That's also a very loaded question, and you could answer it a lot of different ways. But those are just 2 questions to maybe start prompting you to think about which of the 7 steps you personally need to take. So we believe in you guys. Obviously, none of this is easy. We can't do it by ourselves. It's all through our Lord Jesus that we get the grace and the strength and the courage to make these hard steps. But we believe in you. You got this. Spiritual exercise. Blessed. All right, we didn't. The only thing we didn't do is the reflection questions.
Oh, nobody cares, bro.
Some people might.